The third time, Jordan ruined one of my dates. I started to wonder if it was intentional. The first time, I chalked it up to bad timing. I was at a cozy wine bar in downtown Austin with Marcus, a software developer I'd met on Hinge. He was cute, funny, and we'd been having a great conversation about our mutual love of horror movies when my phone started buzzing incessantly. Jordan? Emergency, Jordan? Need you now? Jordan. It's urgent. Please answer. My stomach dropped. Jordan and I had been best friends since college, 7 years of late-night talks, shared apartments, and being each other's emergency contacts. If he said it was urgent, it was urgent. I'm so sorry, I told Marcus, already standing. My best friend, there's an emergency. I have to go. Marcus was understanding, sweet even, as he walked me out. We made vague plans to reschedule, though I could see the disappointment in his eyes. I felt terrible as I rushed to my car, my mind racing with worst-case scenarios. Had Jordan been in an accident? Was someone hurt? I found him at his apartment, sprawled on his couch in sweatpants, perfectly fine. What's the emergency? I demanded, my heart still racing. Jordan looked up from his phone, his hazel eyes wide with confusion. What? You texted me saying it was urgent? Multiple times. I left my date. Oh, right, sorry. I couldn't remember the name of that Italian place we went to last month. You know, the one with the amazing carbonara? I'm trying to make a reservation. I stared at him, certain I'd misheard. You interrupted my date to ask about a restaurant name? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad. He had the grace to look sheepish, but it was really bothering me. You know how I get when I can't remember something. Jordan, I was on a date. An actual, real date with a guy I liked. Oh, he stood up, running a hand through his dark, perpetually messy hair. Shit, Eli, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. Was it going well? It was going great until you texted me 15 times. I'll make it up to you. Promise. We can go to that Italian place. My treat. Consider it an apology. I wanted to stay mad at him, but Jordan had this way of looking genuinely remorseful that made it impossible. Plus, 7 years of friendship had taught me that Jordan really did get obsessive about random details. It was annoying but endearing. Fine, but Jordan. Next time, unless you're literally dying, don't interrupt my dates. Deal Scout's honor. He held up 3 fingers in what was definitely not the Scout salute. The second time happened 3 weeks later. I was at a coffee shop with Daniel, an architect I'd matched with. We were deep in conversation about Austin's changing skyline when Jordan walked in. Eli. Oh my God, what are the odds? Jordan made a beeline for our table, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. I was just thinking about you. Jordan, I said, trying to keep the irritation out of my voice. I'm kind of in the middle of something. Oh, is this a date? Jordan looked at Daniel with exaggerated surprise, as if he hadn't already figured that out. Sorry, man. I'm Jordan, Eli's best friend. We basically share a brain at this point. Daniel, my date, said, shaking Jordan's hand with a polite smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Cool, cool. Hey, Eli, super quick question. Did you remember to pay the electric bill for the old apartment? Because I just got a notice in, Jordan. We moved out of that apartment 6 months ago. Right, but the final bill, I paid it. In April? Are you sure? Because I'm sure. Okay. Just checking. Jordan stood there for another beat, showing no signs of leaving. So Daniel, what do you do? What followed was 15 minutes of Jordan interrogating Daniel about his job, his hobbies, his intentions. He actually asked about Daniel's intentions, like we were in a Victorian novel. By the time Jordan finally left, the easy flow of conversation had evaporated. Daniel seemed irritated, and I was mortified. We finished our coffee quickly, and when Daniel said he had to get back to work early, I knew I wouldn't be hearing from him again. Jordan's. Intense, was all Daniel said as we parted ways. The third time was last night, and it was the most blatant yet. I was at a nice restaurant, the kind of place where you actually have to make reservations with Alex, a graphic designer who was exactly my type, tall, dark hair, quick wit, and a smile that made my stomach flip. We'd been texting for 2 weeks, and the chemistry was undeniable. Our first date was going perfectly until Jordan showed up. Eli. Fancy seeing you here. Jordan appeared beside our table like he'd materialized out of thin air, wearing a dress shirt that I recognized as belonging to me. Jordan, what are you doing here? Having dinner. What are you doing here? His tone was light, playful, like this was a hilarious coincidence. Jordan, this is Alex. Alex, this is Jordan, my best friend who apparently doesn't understand boundaries. Nice to meet you, Alex said, his smile tight. You too. Hey, you don't mind if I join you guys, right? My dinner plans just fell through, and I hate eating alone. Actually, I started. Great. Jordan pulled up a chair before I could finish my sentence, flagging down a server. I'll just order something quick. Don't mind me. Pretend I'm not even here. That was impossible. Jordan dominated the conversation, telling embarrassing stories about me from college, asking Alex pointed questions, and generally inserting himself into every topic. At one point, he actually reached over and took food off my plate, something that would normally be fine between us, but felt weirdly possessive in front of my date. Alex excused himself to go to the bathroom, and I immediately turned on Jordan. What the hell are you doing? What? I'm being friendly. Getting to know your date. You're sabotaging. Again, this is the third time, Jordan. I'm not sabotaging anything. You're just, what? Coincidentally showing up to every date I go on? Interrupting with fake emergencies. This isn't normal behavior. Something flickered across Jordan's face, hurt, maybe, or guilt. I didn't mean to. I don't want to hear it. Jordan, I love you. You're my best friend. But this has to stop. You can't keep doing this. I'm sorry, he said quietly. You're right. I'll go. He left before Alex came back from the bathroom, but the damage was done. Alex seemed distant for the rest of the evening. When he dropped me off at my apartment, his goodnight kiss was perfunctory. Your friend seems protective, Alex said carefully. He's going through some stuff. I'm sorry he crashed our date. It's fine. But Eli, I'm looking for something serious. And I need to know that whoever I'm dating has space in their life for a relationship. It kind of seems like your friend takes up all your emotional bandwidth. That's not I have plenty of space. Jordan's just he's important to me, but he's not. It's okay. You don't have to explain. Alex smiled, but it was sad. I like you, Eli, but I don't think you're ready for what I'm looking for. Good luck, though, really. He drove away, and I stood outside my apartment building, frustration and confusion warring inside me. Alex was wrong. I was ready for a relationship. I wanted a relationship. So why did I keep ending up alone? I showed up at Jordan's apartment the next morning with coffee and a determined expression. We need to talk, I said as soon as he opened the door. Jordan looked terrible. His hair was even messier than usual. He was wearing the same shirt from last night, and there were dark circles under his eyes. I know. I'm sorry. About last night. About all of it. What's going on with you? Because this isn't normal, Jordan. You're not normally this... clingy? Clingy? He bristled. I'm not clingy. Kill it! When what would you call showing up to my dates uninvited? Last night was a coincidence. That's my favorite restaurant. I had plans that fell through, and the coffee shop. And the emergency texts during my date with Marcus? He was quiet, staring at the floor. Jordan, talk to me. What's really going on? I don't know, he said finally. Maybe I'm just lonely. You've been going on all these dates, and I've been sitting at home by myself. We used to hang out all the time, and now you're always busy. That's not fair. We hung out 3 days ago, and I'm allowed to date Jordan. I'm allowed to try to find someone. I know that. Do you? Because it really doesn't feel like you do. He looked up at me then, and something in his expression made my breath catch. There was vulnerability there, raw and exposed in a way I rarely saw from Jordan. What if you find someone and they take up all your time? What if you don't need me anymore? Jordan... I set down the coffee and moved closer to him. That's not going to happen. You're my best friend. No relationship is going to change that. Promise? Promise. But you have to let me try. You have to stop sabotaging my dates. I'm not, He stopped himself, seeming to really think about it. Okay, maybe I have been. Unintentionally, but still. I'm sorry. Apology accepted. But Jordan, seriously, you need to let me have my own life. It's not healthy, the way you've been acting.
I know.
You're right. I'll do better. I wanted to believe him. But something in his eyes, something I couldn't quite name, made me wonder if he even understood why he was doing it. My roommate Zara had theories. He's in love with you, she said that evening as we made dinner together in our shared apartment. I nearly dropped the knife I was using to chop vegetables. What? No. Jordan's straight. Is he, though? Yes. Very straight. He's dated more women than I can count. Quantity doesn't equal orientation, Eli. Trust me. I had plenty of boyfriends before I figured out I liked girls better. Jordan's naughty's never shown any interest in men. Not even a hint, except for the part wad whore. He's actively sabotaging every date you go on so you stay single and available to him. That's not he said. He was just lonely, and you believed him. Zara raised an eyebrow. Eli, you're a smart guy, but you're also incredibly oblivious when it comes to people having feelings for you. Jordan doesn't have feelings for me? Okay. Then answer me this. When's the last time Jordan had a serious girlfriend? I thought about it. He dated Melissa for a few months last year. For 3 months? And before that, there was ... Sarah. But that was only a few weeks. And before that? I don't know. It's been a while. But that doesn't mean Eli Jordan hasn't had a serious relationship the entire time I've known you. And I've lived here for 2 years. Meanwhile, you two are basically married. You're each other's plus ones to everything. You have dinner together multiple times a week. You know each other's schedules better than you know your own. That's just what best friends do. Now, not to this degree. Normal best friends don't show up to each other's dates uninvited. Normal best friends don't get weird when the other person tries to start a relationship. I sat down at the kitchen table, my head spinning. You really think Jordan has feelings for me? I think it's a possibility you should consider. Because either he has feelings for you, or he's exhibiting some seriously codependent behavior that needs to be addressed either way. But he's never said anything. Never indicated. Sometimes people don't realize their own feelings until it's too late. Or they realize, but they're too scared to act on them. Zara joined me at the table, her expression softening. Look, I could be completely wrong. Maybe Jordan is just going through something and acting out. But Eli, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to find someone. And if Jordan really is your best friend, he should want that for you too. He does want that, does he? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like he wants to keep you all to himself. That night, I lay in bed replaying every interaction I'd had with Jordan over the past few months. The way he'd gotten weird when I mentioned going on dates. How he'd suddenly need to talk to me right when I had plans with someone else. The hurt in his eyes when Alex had called him protective. Was Zara right? Did Jordan have feelings for me? And if he did, what the hell was I supposed to do about it? I decided to test Zara's theory. Over the next 2 weeks, I went on 3 dates and deliberately didn't tell Jordan about them in advance. No mentions in our daily texts, no casual dropping of plans during our conversations. I kept my dating life completely separate from my friendship with Jordan. And you know what? All 3 dates went smoothly. No emergency texts, no surprise appearances, no interruptions. They didn't all lead to second dates chemistry as weird like that, but at least I got through them without Jordan's interference. It should have been a relief. Instead, it felt wrong. Jordan and I told each other everything. We always had. Keeping this part of my life secret from him felt like lying. But I couldn't deny the pattern. When Jordan knew about my dates, they got sabotaged. When he didn't know, everything was fine. See? Zara said when I reported back. Classic case of a friend in love. He just respects my privacy when I set boundaries, I argued. But even I didn't fully believe it. The real test came on a Friday night. I'd been chatting with Miles, a teacher, for almost a month. And we'd finally arranged an actual date dinner and then maybe a movie. Miles seemed genuinely interested. Our conversations flowed easily. And I was actually excited for once. I mentioned it to Jordan casually during our regular Tuesday coffee meet.
Yes.
Have plans Friday night, I said, keeping my tone light. Cool, want to do something Saturday instead? Yeah, sure. But just so you know, Friday's a date. With a guy I really like. So, no emergency restaurant named Crises, okay? Jordan's expression did something complicated. His smile froze, then became too bright, too forced. Of course, have fun. You mean that? Why wouldn't I? I want you to be happy, Eli. It was something in the way he said, something that made my chest tight. But I pushed the feeling aside. Jordan was being supportive. That's what I wanted. Friday arrived, and I got ready with more care than usual. Miles had suggested a restaurant I'd never been to, some fusion place that supposedly had amazing food. I wore the dark blue button-down that Zara insisted brought out my eyes. Spent an embarrassing amount of time on my hair, and actually felt good about myself. My phone buzzed as I was leaving. Jordan, have a great date. You look nice, BTWI, frowned at the text. How did he know how I looked? I was in my apartment. He wasn't here. I looked out my window and saw Jordan's car parked across the street. My stomach dropped. Was he watching me? Planning to follow me to the date? Another text came through. Jordan, Zara sent me a pic. She's excited for you. Good luck. I exhaled. Okay? Not creepy surveillance. Just Zara being her oversharing self. That was fine. Everything was fine. I drove to the restaurant, parked, and walked in to find Miles already at a table. He stood when he saw me, his smile genuine and warm. Eli, you made it. Of course. You look great, thanks. So do you. That color really works on you. We settled into easy conversation. Miles was smart, funny, and attentive in a way that made me feel seen. He asked about my work as a physical therapist. Seemed genuinely interested in the answers. Shared stories about his students that were endearing and hilarious. An hour in, I realized I was having the best date I'd had in months. Maybe years. This is nice, I said. Really nice. It is. Miles reached across the table, his fingers brushing mine. I'm glad we finally did this. I was starting to think I'd imagined the connection. No, it's real. Definitely real. My phone buzzed. I ignored it. It buzzed again. And again, sorry, I said, pulling it out. Just need to make sure it's not an emergency. Jordan. Hey, quick question, Jordan. Remember that thing we talked about? Jordan. I need your advice on something, Jordan. It's kind of important, Jordan. Hello? I stared at the messages, anger building in my chest. He was doing it again. After promising he wouldn't, after I'd explicitly told him about this date, he was still trying to interrupt. Everything okay? Miles asked. Yeah, fine. Just my friend being ... persistent, the protective one, Jordan? I'd told Miles about Jordan's past interference, framing it as well-intentioned but misguided. Miles had been understanding, even sympathetic. Yeah, he has bad timing. Do you need to call him? No. It can wait. I turned my phone face down on the table. Sorry, you were telling me about your student who thought Texas was a country? Miles launched back into his story, but I was distracted. My phone kept buzzing with texts, a steady vibration against the table. Each buzz felt like an accusation, a reminder that someone needed me more than I was present for this date. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I'm so sorry. Can you excuse me for just a minute? I need to make sure Jordan's actually okay. Miles's smile was understanding, but I could see the disappointment beneath it. Of course, I stepped outside and called Jordan. Oh, good, you answered. His voice was cheerful, unbothered. So listen, I'm at Home Depot trying to pick out paint colors for the bathroom, and I can't decide between Jordan. I cut him off, my voice sharp. What are you doing? Shopping for paint? I told you I was going to redo the bathroom. You're interrupting my date again. To ask about paint colors. I mean, when you put it like that, Jordan, what is going on with you? Seriously. Because this isn't normal. This isn't friendly concern or bad timing. You're actively trying to ruin my dates. I'm not. Yes, you are. Every single time I try to connect with someone, you find a reason to interrupt. And I need you to tell me why. Silence on the other end. Then, I don't know what you want me to say. That's the truth. I want you to tell me the truth about why you keep doing this. More silence. I could hear him breathing, could almost feel his internal struggle through the phone. I should let you get back to your date, he said finally, his voice small. Jordan, I'm sorry for interrupting, really. Have a good night. Eli. He hung up before I could respond. I stood outside the restaurant, phone in hand, feeling like I'd just missed something crucial. Something in Jordan's voice, in that long pause, in the way he deflected Eli. Miles stood in the doorway. You okay? Yeah. Sorry. I'm coming back, actually. Miles looked uncomfortable. I think maybe we should call it a night. My heart sank. I'm so sorry. Jordan, it's not about Jordan. Well, it's not just about Jordan. Miles ran a hand through his hair. Look, you seem like a great guy, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you. But I don't think you're ready for a relationship. What? No, I am. I really like you, Miles. I believe you. But Eli, you left our date to take a call about paint colors? And this isn't the first time you've mentioned Jordan interrupting. It sounds like he does this a lot. He's just going through something. Maybe, but you're letting him. You're prioritizing his needs over your own life, over potential relationships. That's not healthy. It's not like that, isn't it? Miles's expression was sympathetic but firm. Eli, I'm looking for a partner. Someone who has space in their life for a relationship. And right now it seems like all your space is taken up by someone else. It's not fair. Jordan's my best friend. No. And I'm not asking you to choose between me and him. I'm just saying. Maybe you need to figure out what your relationship with Jordan actually is before you try to start something with someone else. He squeezed my shoulder gently, paid his half of the check, and left. I sat back down at our table alone, my half-eaten dinner growing cold, and tried to figure out how everything had gone so wrong. I didn't go home. Instead, I drove to Jordan's apartment, my anger and confusion crystallizing into something I couldn't ignore anymore. He answered the door in sweatpants and an old college t-shirt, his hair damp like he'd just showered. His face went through several expressions when he saw me: surprise, guilt, something that looked like hope. Eli, we need to talk. Right now? He stepped aside, letting me in. His apartment was the same as always, comfortable chaos. Video game controllers on the coffee table. My favorite beer in the fridge because he always kept it stocked even though he didn't drink it. Before you say anything, Jordan started, I really am sorry about tonight. You were right. I shouldn't have. Why do you keep doing this? I told you, no. I cut him off. No more excuses. No more deflecting. I need the real answer, Jordan. Why do you sabotage every date I go on? He stared at me, his hazel eyes wide and vulnerable. I don't mean to. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. That's bullshit. I was angry now, really angry, in a way I rarely was with Jordan. You show up uninvited. You interrupt with fake emergencies. You make my dates so uncomfortable, they don't want to see me again. That's not accidental. That's intentional. Maybe I just miss my best friend, he shot back. Maybe I'm tired of always being your second choice. Second choice? Jordan, you're never yes I am. Ever since you started using those apps, you've been ditching me for strangers. Guys you don't even know, who won't stick around, who aren't. He stopped himself. Who aren't what? Nothing. Forget it. No. Finish your sentence. Who aren't what? Who aren't me? The words burst out of him like he'd been holding them in for years. They're not me, Eli. They don't know you like I do. They don't care about you like I do. They're just there going to disappoint you, hurt you, leave you. Like everyone else. I stared at him, my heart pounding. What are you saying? I'm saying he ran his hands through his hair, pacing now. I'm saying you don't need them. You have me. We're happy together, aren't we? We have a good thing. Why do you need to go looking for something else? Because we're not together, Jordan? We're friends, but we could be more. The words hung in the air between us, heavy and impossible to take back. My voice came out as barely a whisper. Jordan looked at me with such raw vulnerability it hurt. We could be more. We could be together. Actually together. Not just as friends. Jordan, you're straight. Am I? He laughed, but it sounded broken. Because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you for months. Haven't been able to watch you try to find someone else without feeling like I'm dying inside. Haven't been able to imagine my future without you in it. My brain couldn't process what I was hearing. You have feelings for me? Yes. He said it simply, like it was obvious. I'm in love with you, Eli. I have been for a while. I just didn't realize it until I saw you trying to replace me with random guys from apps. I wasn't trying to replace you. Weren't you? No, Jordan. You're my best friend. No relationship could ever replace that, but they could take you away from me. They could make you not need me anymore. I sat down heavily on his couch, trying to organize my thoughts. Jordan loved me, was in love with me. My straight best friend of 7 years had been sabotaging my dates because he had feelings for me. Why didn't you tell me? I asked finally, because I didn't know how. Because I was scared. Because ... He sat down next to me, close but not touching. Because what if you didn't feel the same way? What if I ruined everything by saying something? So instead you ruined my dates? I know. I know that was wrong. But watching you with those guys, seeing you try to build something with strangers, it was killing me, Eli. Those weren't strangers. They were people I was getting to know, people I might have been happy with. Do you really believe that? I wanted to say yes. But sitting here with Jordan's confession hanging between us, I realized I didn't know. Had I really been excited about those guys? Or had I just been going through the motions, trying to find something that felt like what I already had with Jordan? I don't know, I admitted. But Jordan, this what you're asking for, it's not that simple. Why not? Because we're best friends? Because if we try this and it doesn't work, I lose you completely. Because you've never been with a guy before and you don't know if this is really what you want or if you're just confused. I'm not confused. How can you be sure? Because when I imagine my future, you're in it. Always. Not as my friend, but as my partner. My person. The one I wake up next to. The one I come home to. He turned to face me fully. I know this is sudden. I know I've handled this badly. But Eli, I'm sure about how I feel. I've never been more sure of anything. I need time to think about this. Pain flashed across his face, but he nodded. Okay, yeah, of course. Take all the time you need. I stood up, needing distance, needing space to breathe. I'm going to go, Eli. I'll call you, okay? I need to process this. I left before he could respond, before I could see the hope or hurt or whatever else was in his eyes. In my car, I gripped the steering wheel and tried to make sense of what had just happened. Jordan loved me, was in love with me, and I had absolutely no idea what to do about it. I didn't call Jordan that night, or the next day, or the day after that. Instead, I spiraled. He's in love with you, Zara, said for the 3rd time, as we sat in our living room on Sunday afternoon. I told you he was in love with you. You did? You were right. So what are you going to do about it? I don't know. I dropped my head into my hands. This is Jordan we're talking about. My best friend. The person who's been there for me through everything. How am I supposed to risk that? By being honest about how you feel? It's the problem. Why don't know how I feel, Eli? Come on, what? You know exactly how you feel. You're just scared to admit it. I looked up at her. What do you mean? I mean, you've been half in love with Jordan for years. You just convinced yourself it was platonic because you thought he was straight. That's not if... Never thought of Jordan that way. Bullshit. You literally structure your entire life around him. You get anxious when you don't talk to him for a day. You compare every guy you date to him, and they all fall short. You're codependent at best and actively in love with him at worst. We're just really close friends. Eli, when's the last time you dated someone seriously? And I mean really seriously, not just a few dates that went nowhere. I thought about it. Ben, I guess. But that was 3 years ago, right? And why did that end? We wanted different things. What things? I don't know, just... He wanted more of my time, wanted me to be more present, and I just felt like he was too demanding. He kept getting weird about how much time I spent with Jordan. Zara raised an eyebrow. Do you hear yourself? What? Every relationship you've had for the past 7 years has ended because of Jordan. Either they felt like they were competing with him, or you felt like they were trying to take you away from him. That's not normal best friend behavior, Eli. That's relationship behavior. But I don't think of Jordan romantically. I've never looked at him and felt whatever I'm supposed to feel. What do you feel when you're with him? I don't know, happy, comfortable, like I'm home. When you're not with him, like something's missing. And when you imagine your future, he's there. The words came out automatically, before I'd even thought about them. Zara smiled sadly. Yeah, that's what I thought. I sat back against the couch, my mind reeling. Was she right? Had I been in love with Jordan this whole time without realizing it? But even if you're right, I said slowly, that doesn't mean we should be together. Jordan's never been with a guy. What if he's just confused? What if he's mistaking really strong friendship for romantic feelings? That's possible. But isn't that for him to figure out? Not if it costs me my best friend when he realizes he made a mistake. So you'd rather keep things as they are? Continue dating guys you're not really into? Continue being confused about why nothing works out? Continue this weird codependent dance where neither of you are actually happy? We are happy. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, you both seem pretty miserable. She was right, I realized. As much as I loved Jordan, as much as our friendship meant to me, something about our dynamic had become unhealthy. The sabotage dates were just a symptom of a bigger problem. I need to talk to him, I said. Yeah, you really do. But I didn't talk to him. Not that day or the next. Every time I picked up my phone to call, I froze. What would I even say? That I might have feelings for him too, but I was too scared to explore them. That I needed more time even though he'd already waited years. That I wanted things to stay the same, even though we both knew that was impossible now. Jordan didn't call me either. He texted once, a simple, "I'm here when you're ready to talk," and then nothing. The silence between us felt wrong. Like a missing tooth you can't stop probing with your tongue. On Wednesday, I had a session with Mrs. Chen, one of my regular patients. She was 75, recovering from a hip replacement, and had very strong opinions about everything. You look terrible, she said as I helped H. Through her exercises. Good morning to you too, Mrs. Chen. Don't deflect. What's wrong? You have the same face my grandson makes when he's having girl trouble. Except you'd be having boy trouble, I assume. Despite everything, I smiled. Is it that obvious? Very. Your heart's not in it today. You keep looking at your phone. Sorry. I'll focus. Don't apologize. Tell me what's wrong. I'm old. I've seen everything. Maybe I can help. So I told her. Maybe it was easier to talk to someone who wasn't involved, someone who could be objective. I gave her the broad strokes best friend, feelings, fear of ruining everything. Let me get this straight, Mrs. Chen said when I finished. You have a best friend who you love, who loves you back, and you're scared to be with him because... ... Why exactly? Because if it doesn't work out, I lose him completely. And if you don't try, you'll lose him anyway.
What?
Eli, you can't unknow what you know now. He's confessed his feelings. You clearly have feelings too, even if you're too stubborn to admit it. The friendship as it was, that's already gone. You can't go back to what you had before. So your only real choice is whether to move forward together or separately. That's not there has to be another option. There isn't. Trust me, I've been alive long enough to know. You either take the risk or you live with the regret. Those are your only choices. What if I'm not brave enough? Then you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what if. And that, my dear, is